Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time you're watching this video. I realize people watch this at different times. It's not always morning for everybody, right? Anyway, so good day or evening, whatever, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, right? Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Whether you're catching me on YouTube, Facebook, one of the groups, because I'm going live in a group at the same time today. This is something new, so welcome, right? We'll keep trying new things, right? Anyway, this morning my brain and thoughts are all over the place. Now that's not really anything too new, really, honestly, because that's me a lot, right? That's just me. My thoughts are just always going everywhere. But today, for some reason, I got a lot more of them that I'm trying to reel them in and go. You remember we talked about that before. Sometimes we just gotta reel them in and say, "Hey, you're going to rely on God's peace today. You're not going to run away with me today, thoughts. I'm going to, every time you start running away, I'm going to start reeling you back in. And so that's what I'm working on doing today is reeling some of these thoughts back in. Because it's not, it's not even anything really big. It's just, I'm trying to decide, what kind of clients do I want? Do I make a shift in this? Do I want to try something different, job wise? And I got a lot going on. I mean, today's gone. We didn't even get started, but the doctor's coming and just things going on all day long, right? And just so that's just me. That's just our lives are so full of things. Our lives are so we are busy people, and that's not bad necessarily, right? It's better than being lazy, and it's better than not doing anything and not being productive and being a part of our communities and society by living in a cave, which is sometimes what I'd like to do, but I won't. Anyway, I'll refrain from that, even though I would like to sometimes. So my thoughts were all over the place. I was praying, and I did my little walk this morning, and was praying while I was walking. I'm just asking God for wisdom. And also asked him what I should share on this video because sometimes I don't got nothing. I'm just, hey, look, I'm just gonna be raw and real. Some mornings I get up and go, I don't even want to do it. I don't want to. I just don't want to. And it's not because I don't enjoy it. It's just that sometimes I don't want to. Okay. And so, but I feel like this is a tool that he's given me, a place I can share his word. That's a safe place, and we stay away from big doctrinal issues and things, and we just talk about God. And I love talking about God, and I love talking about his word. So now I've talked myself back into it. See how you just reel those thoughts in and get into the right place, right? So I was thinking about our responses when God leads us to do something or when he tells us to do something, or even do we believe that he's given us his peace? Because see, if we don't believe what he said in John 14:27, I'm leaving my peace with you, I'm giving you my peace, if we don't believe that, we can't apply it, right? Does that make sense? So these two things came to mind, the two stories in Second Kings, and there were the very different circumstances in both of them, and yet the person's response in the story in what the it was it's not we read it as a story, but it was a real life event, right? But the person's responses dictated their outcome in a sense, and I would say their responses demonstrated how much they trusted God and the Word of God. So we got two different stories. One is in chapter, what is it, 13. It's in chapter 13. And the king, Elisha was sick. He was about to die. The prophet was about to die. And the king came to him, Joash, the king came to him, and he was sad. And I think, and in one way, I think he was blinded by his grief. And as a caregiver, and ministering to caregivers a lot with the blog and different things, it's really easy to get locked into that grief, and grief can blind you, grief can cripple you, grief can steal your life away if you let it, right? And so Joash was somewhat blinded by grief because he's seeing Elisha in his last stages, right? He's fixing to die, and that's a hard place to be with someone you love, right? And so Elisha tells the King Joash, he says, God's going to give you this army, this battle, because Joash had come to ask, should I go to this battle? And he's, yeah, and he said, am I going to win this battle, and can I go out in here? And Elisha says, take the bow and some arrows and shoot at some arrows, and then he said to take. I believe he said to take the bow, and he said strike the ground, and Joash hit the ground 3 times. And because Elisha said, God's given you the battle. God has given you this battle. Now strike the ground. And Joash just hit the ground 3 times, and Elisha went, You only hit the ground 3 times. You were God's promising you that you were going to wipe them out, but since you only hit the ground 3 times, now you're only going to halfway defeat them. You're going to win a few battles, but you're not going to win the whole thing. And so I was like, wow. His response was, I mean, because think about that. If God says you're going into this battle and you can't lose, and you really believe that that's what God said, you're going to beat the thunder out of that ground. Yeah, I'm going to win this one. You're going to just beat it. He only hit it 3 times. I think, I might, this is just my opinion. I think he didn't really believe what Elisha said. Either that or he was so complacent he didn't care. He's like, okay, yeah, whatever, right? Because I think if he really believed what Elisha told him, he would have just beat the ground till he just didn't almost have any strength left. Yeah, I'm going to win this, so we're going to go in there. We're going to kick some booty and take care of them all, right? And I think he didn't really believe, and you could tell it in his response, right? But then there's another story, and it's in chapter 4, and it's the widow, and her son has died, and she comes to Elisha, and she obviously she's going to come asking to pray for her son, but she came, and they said, and Gehazi went out to meet her and said, "Is it well with your husband? Is it well with your child?" Okay, so it wasn't widow, right? It was well with your husband. Is it well with your child? And she said, "It is well," but her son was laying at home dead, and yet she made a faith statement, if we want to say it that way. It is well. She had so much trust in God that she's like, it's going to be okay no matter what the outcome is. And I don't know why she came. I don't know if she came to ask Elijah to pray for him, or just for the comfort that he could provide as kind of a minister of that day. I don't know, but her faith statement, her response to the situation and to that question was positive and trusting. It's well. And even if she maybe didn't feel it was well because of grief, she was dealing with grief too. So we see two people here dealing with grief and dealing with it. Their responses were very different to what God was saying. And so my whole thing, as I was thinking about these two stories, is the woman with whose son died knew it was well even if it wasn't going well. And the king didn't know it was well, even when it was going well. And you could tell in their response. So my question is, what's our response to what God says to us? See, if I feel like God's led me to do these devotions, I kind of fell into them over 3 years ago. We just keep doing them, and He hadn't told me to stop. I don't feel to stop yet. If I wake up in the morning and that's it, it'll be it, okay? But right now I feel to do them, and so my response is to get up and do them, even when I don't feel like it, right? Because some mornings I'm just like, I don't want to. I just don't want to get dressed and get up in front of the camera by 8 o'clock in the morning. But I do it because my response to what I feel His word was is a positive one, right? And it's always good. When I do, I always encourage myself. So that's a good thing too, right? Maybe I encourage some of you in the process. So my point is, if we believe He's given us His peace, what is our response to that? Because if we really believe that, then we're going to at least try to make it rain, to let it rain. If we believe He's given us grace enough for today, we're going to our response is going to be to at least try not to worry and try to put it in His hands. And our response would be to at least try to lean into His grace rather than our crazy thoughts like I've had all morning, right? Right? Our response is to not worry and give Him those anxious thoughts, give Him those anxieties, give Him those things that are trying to just worry us half to death. And they literally will if we let them, right? So our response to what He says, do we believe John 3:16? For God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. When we believe that, our response will demonstrate our level of belief. If I truly believe God's given me His peace, I'm going to shoot for something, right? If I truly believe that that He's given me the grace for today, my response is going to be to rely on Him. If I really believe He can give me that wisdom that I ask for, my response is I ask for the wisdom, and then I trust Him to lead and try not to get out there and do it all in my own power, when it's not by might or power, but by God's Spirit, by God's strength we do things. Do I really believe that those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength? If I do, my response to that is to wait on God. Don't get ahead of God. Wait for his answer. Wait for his direction. Wait for that wisdom, right? And that waiting is the hard part. But our response to what we know God has said is how we measure how much we really believe him. Right? Right? Because if we really if King Joash really believed Elisha, he would have beat the ground with those arrows. The widow truly believed it was well because she said it's well, even though her son was laying at home dead. Right? And of course, Elisha, what happened? Elisha went out and raised him from the dead, and she got her son back. So she was believing it was going to be well, whether it went well or not. And sometimes that's where we are. We just have to trust God that it's going to go well, that He really does have good thoughts for us out of Jeremiah 29:11, that He really does have a hope for us, that He really does have a future for us, and it's a good one because we're going to be hidden in him no matter what happens, and that's a good place to be, right? So our response today, my response today is going to be just resting and letting him direct me, just resting and letting that peace reign in my heart, even though all these crazy things are going on all around me and in my head. I'm going to just reel that all in because I believe that he gave me his peace. I don't have to walk through this life alone. I'm not walking through the struggles of the day to day, of caregiving and working and things like that alone. Why? Because I believe he's with me. So I'm going to rely on that. And my response is going to be to call on him more. And I know, God doesn't care if I call every second of every day, if I'm calling on him and asking him, help me through this, help me through that. God, I'm going to trust you. My declaration is a response too. I can declare, I will trust God today. I will let his peace reign in my heart today. I will wait for his grace to equip me for today, right? So our response lets us know, and it's not for anybody else to know necessarily, right? I mean, we got these stories, right? But our response lets us know, how much am I trusting God today? How much am I saying I'm putting everything in his hands, but then I'm still holding on to it? And I'm not really quite doing that. Am I saying I've got his peace, but I'm not really just pushing forward and letting it rain? I'm still going, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's okay. Just chill. Take a chill pill today and rest in him and trust him as your response to his word, and as to the response to the knowing that he's given you his peace, his wisdom, his grace for today, right? And so you can just peace out. Peace out, you guys. If I said something that made sense, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.